She's back, Wendy Riddle, with her book, Shame Interrupted. We'll talk about that and her sobriety with Lila, Bob, Ryan, and me today live on The View.
Restoring hope, open my heart to sing, taking the darkness inside, revealing your light, restoring hope, open my eyes to see the world through different eyes, revealing your light, restoring hope.
All right, 3 minutes after the hour, welcome. This is Restoring Hope Live, a ministry of Max World Live and The View from a Pew, brought to you by the good folks at Unity Point. Unity Point, Powell, CDC, 263-2424. You've heard us say it before, that you have someone in your life who is suffering from an alcohol or drug addiction. Maybe you're in denial on it, but just between you and me right now, you know it and I know it. Not the denial part, that they have a problem. Maybe you're enabling. Maybe you're a codependent. Maybe you're just worried, and that's okay. Because there's no shame and guilt in being broken in the flesh. Because you're perfect in God's eyes. Hope you know that. You do know that. I know you know that. If you listen to this show, you know that. So now, when you have that emergency, that moment, that lose your breath type of thing, you know you can call Lila. You know you can call Bob. And you know you can call me. Maybe you had a rough weekend. Maybe it was one of those weekends when Dad just, I don't know, started Sunday night when he got home from work and he just didn't seem to get well all weekend. Or you visited some friends, maybe some family, and that same old pattern of drunkenness started up again. And when the booze flies, so do the words, and so do the insults, and so do the offense. There is something you can do about it. First of all, trust that the folks at Powell CDC can help you. Quadrillion years, I made that up, thousands and thousands of years of combined experience, strength, and hope to help people like you, like me, like us, to get through this day and to the next. Today, Wendy Riddle is back. It was so fascinating to have her the first time. She's back. Lila wasn't here then. Lila was on the beach playing Coco. And so I wanted Wendy to come back and meet Lila. And I also asked Wendy to bring a book that she swore by during your sobriety called Shame Interrupted. And it's written by Edward T. Welch, W-E-L-C-H, How God Lifts the Pain of Worthlessness and Rejection. Shame Interrupted. Is this a book for either gender, Wendy?
Oh, yes.
Okay. I want to read you something that I was looking for here. This is on page 223. This shame can't be trusted. What I mean is that your shame can speak with confidence, yet lie. Shame is not your real home. I'm not so sure you feel comfortable with shame, but I know you believe you deserve it. The truth is that you are being given a gift. When people give us a gift, they don't want us to say, I don't deserve this. Thank you is enough. Could you say that right now? Just say thank you for the gift that you've been given to lift that shame. That's what we're going to work on today on this program. Wendy, welcome. Glad to have you back again.
I'm glad to be back.
Had a lot of good comments on the first time you were around. A lot of good people said that they enjoyed your
good
story and glad you were going to come back. Now, I asked you to put together a timeline so we could kind of let people know where we were at so we don't have to go over the whole story again. And I'm just going to let you read that. And any comments you want to make or any self-explanation, explain it. Self-explanation.
Explanation.
Or you can just give dates and go through it, because I'll back up and walk
Okay.
through it with you in a minute. But I want Lila to hear that and folks that may not have been here to hear the story.
I'm just going to start. I was married when I was 25, so I'll start with the first time I was married and the first time I was in treatment. My first marriage, we were both alcoholics. Just your typical fighting, drinking, chaotic marriage that lasted like 15 months.
Did you know you were an alcoholic when you were married to him? Or did you know he was too?
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
That's why my husband and I married each other, because we were both alcoholic. We thought it was fun.
Yeah. Sometime after I was divorced, I had went through an outpatient that was failure. I was maybe sober for a couple of weeks. But, you go to treatment in the evening, and then you're left alone for the weekend. And I didn't take up AA at that time, so just kind of on my own. I didn't do very well. In 2000, I got married again. During my marriage, I went through another outpatient that I failed at again. That marriage consisted of drinking, doing drugs, more chaotic, crazy lifestyle. March of 2002, my mom passed away. Also filed for divorce that same time. That's when things really started going downhill for me, was after my mom died in 2002. Our relationship was pretty rocky. She was abusive toward me growing up.
Very abusive.
Very abusive,
Yeah.
verbally, physically, just
Yeah.
kind of, my mind was, I was a nervous, anxious, just full of anxiety and fear.
The picture I got last week, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, but you don't need to say this. I'm trying to say something that I think is true, but it's hard for you to say.
Okay,
Is that okay?
that's fine.
I think this was a horrible woman who didn't like herself at all, had no peace or joy within her, and took all of her anger and all of her frustrations and all of her resentments out on her girls and brother, right? Or just
No, just me.
Okay, just
I have
her.
3 sisters.
Over and over and over again. I mean, I think it would be like living with the stepmother from Cinderella.
Were you most like her? Sometimes I think mothers or parents see themselves in their children, and things that you can't, that you don't like about yourself, you see in your kids. Just remind you of that.
That could possibly be. Not too long ago, like back May and June is when I started getting some professional help on why am I still having these head things going on with me. And Jackie was her name, wonderful woman. She said, well, what was going on with your sisters? I was the only one who didn't have any issues. And she said, well, there you go. I was odd man out. I was easy to attack. But for whatever reason, I don't know. I did confront her a couple times. Why were you this way to me? And she just denied it. So I knew that I couldn't, I just had to, forgive and to the best I could.
Did your sisters know it was true as well?
Yeah.
Have you ever talked to them about it? Yeah.
I don't know if they know to what extent, because a lot of it happened when they were gone.
Yeah.
Mom was the type, I was too afraid to ask my mom to go out on a Friday night. So I would ask my sister Stephanie to ask Mom for me. So I was too afraid.
Oh.
So Stephanie would ask Mom, can Wendy go out tonight? Mom would say, sure. Well, I was always the last one out the door. Mom would say, where the hell do you think you're going? I said, well, Stephanie said, you said I could go out. Well, this isn't done and this isn't done. And we had housework to do. And I ended up doing all their housework. And then I still couldn't go. So just those kind of mind games. And I was just afraid of her basically until shortly before she died. If it wasn't for her stroke changed her almost into like a little girl again. So that's the closest I ever been to her, is when she was dying, unfortunately. But so Mom passed away 2002. Got involved with a guy, just an insanity relationship. Both of us were alcoholics, just crazy. He stole from me, I took him back. He put me in jail, I took him back. Just one of those, you can't live with him, you can't live without him. And it was just a sick relationship. And
So it sounds like you're not loving yourself either at that
Right.
point.
you know, I was a type, just hang out with the lowest of the low. Go to when I did go out and drink, just go to the lowest of the lowest bars. You know, their cheapest, the strongest drinks. You know, I just kind of felt that way about myself. July 2005, I went into a partial inpatient treatment, and I enjoyed it. I actually enjoyed it. I had to get on some antabuse to keep me from drinking, because then again, I'm on my own. How do I keep myself sober? And I knew that you'd get really sick if you drank on it, which I had a couple times. But after I got out of that partial inpatient, I was sober. So that was July 2005. I was sober until October 21st. I'm a journaler, so I went back and I read all this. My first husband, Steve, passed away in a car accident. He driving home from the bar and rolled his truck. So he passed away, and I made it like 4 days without drinking. So I didn't know how to deal with those emotions. I want to back up and tell you something. Back in living at home, back in Jamestown, for whatever reason, Mom was screaming and yelling at me for that particular day. All I could do was sit in my chair and listen and just take what she was giving at me. Whether it was verbally, whether she was hitting me, I could not defend myself. Physically, I could not defend myself verbally. So all I could do was sit there and just accept what she was doing. So I was telling Mac and Bob last week, I didn't know how to, once I got out of the house on my own, I didn't know how to deal with anger. I didn't know how to deal with these emotions. And that's when I started cutting. Because that's what made me feel good.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you deal with a lot of those in your
Yeah.
profession. And so the last time I cut was like 4 years ago. It was pretty recently. I started really old. Most kids do it when they're early teens. I was like 21 when I started. But so October 2005, I have bouts of sobriety, 40 days, 2 months, back to 2 weeks, just back and forth.
Were you in AA at the time, or in the 12-step program, or did you have a sponsor, or are you trying to do it yourself?
I did. I was in AA. And I did have a sponsor.
But were you working a program? Because we can have all that stuff and say we're doing all that, but not really working.
I don't know that I had a sponsor that was able to explain the steps to me like I needed to understand them. So unfortunately, I didn't follow through with AA and the 12 steps.
Wendy Riddle is our guest today. She's here to tell us an amazing story of survival. The book that really helped her along was Edward T. Welch's Shame Interrupted. And I'd encourage you to get a copy of that book and read it. When we come back, more on Wendy's lifetime and how she finally has found 7 years and counting of sobriety in this deadly disease called alcoholism. We're coming back. I'm J. Michael McCoy. Thanks for listening. Love this job. Couldn't do it without you. right here on The Truth.
A father who is headed toward another heart attack. A woman who struggles daily with diabetes and her memory. A boy whose headaches keep him out of school. A mother who one morning discovers a lump. A girl whose condition defies diagnosis. You come to us because you need answers, but you also need more. You need understanding of what you're going through. You need comfort. You need to be treated as an individual, not a condition. You need to be included in your own care. You are the point of everything we do. That's why we're changing to Unity Point Health. It's a model of care that will help us work better together, where the physician who knows you best takes the lead, coordinating your care through every step, from the hospital to specialists to rehabilitation to health services in the home and in the community, to making sure the treatments are effective. By working as a team, we surround you with care, helping you manage your health and your conditions, guiding you to making better choices and living a healthier life. The point of Unity is you. Unity Point Health.
Hey, psst. Let me let you in on a little secret. You ready? Always try to do business with people, not places. Especially if you seek honest Christian business people. And when it comes to my car, I really need to trust who's working on it. Now, my family is so blessed. A few years ago, we found a family-owned automobile repair shop that operates as a Christian business also. Open, honest, reliable, trustworthy. It's AMCO on Hickman Road in front of Kmart. And it's a family-owned Christian operating business. This family treats your car as if it was their car. Everything from oil changes to transmission repair and everything in between. So the next time you feel the need to be at peace with your choice of who you can trust with your car, give AMCO on Hickman a chance to serve you. And tell them Max sent you.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can return the grandkids, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We'll help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast 1 Live.
Restoring hope, open my heart to sing, taking the darkness inside, revealing your light, restoring hope.
All right, welcome. 21 minutes after the hour, live here on Restoring Hope Live, brought to you by Powell CDC and the good folks at Unity Point. We want to stress that so many times families just disintegrate because nobody knows where to turn. And with an alcoholic or an addict, they're so overpowering, and that's just the disease, okay? They're so scared, they're so afraid, and they stuff this alcohol or drugs into their body so they can cope. And if you're a normie, that's what you're called if you're not an alcoholic or an addict. I know that's hard to understand. And I'm okay that you don't understand it. I don't need to convince you or explain it till you get it. If you know someone who's an alcoholic or an addict, you know that activity. You know those actions. Think of it as an allergic reaction. Are you allergic to anything? You know anybody who's allergic to it, and then they get around it? Maybe it's a cat, maybe it's a dog, maybe it's strawberries, maybe it's peanut, maybe it's chocolate. And they get influenced by it, and all of a sudden, whatever happens, and they break out. That's what happens with alcoholics and drug addicts.
You know, you crave what you're allergic to.
Huh?
You crave what you're allergic to.
Right.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But think about a cat. Are you a cat person?
We have 2 cats and a dog.
Okay. If you were allergic to those cats and they just kind of made you puffy under the eyes and a little sniffly, would you still have them?
Probably not.
Well, see, alcoholics would. they'd still have that bottle, that glass, that jug, that keg. Powell CDC is there, 263-2424. Call Lila, call me, call Bob. Call us. And how about if I guarantee you'll get one nugget of wisdom from somebody you talk to through Powell that will help you take one more step. One more step with one more nugget of wisdom. I think I could guarantee that. Give it a try. Challenge me. Wendy Riddle is our guest, and we're walking through her timeline. And your husband, your second husband, died in a car accident.
My first husband.
First husband. And this is a tough question. But given as you look back, that was okay. Because you guys didn't do well.
Well, we didn't do well. We had started rekindling our friendship. We started hanging out again.
Okay.
But we were still drinking.
Yeah. Did he die? Was his car accident due to any drinking?
Yeah. He was leaving a bar, and he was going around a curve too fast, and he rolled his truck.
Okay. All right. So take us from there. And what year is this, or how old were you at that time, or just give us a time frame?
That was October of 2005.
So we're 2 years away from getting sober.
That Steve passed away.
Okay.
I relapsed not even a week later. I was in and out of sobriety from October 2005 until December 2006. I walked out of my job in a drunken stupor.
What kind of job did you have that you could drink at your job?
Well,
were you one of those people that kept a bottle in the
No.
file cabinet?
I went on like a 3 or 4 day binge, and I came into work Monday morning, and I was still drunk. And I opened up my emails, and I saw an email that I knew wasn't going to go very well. It wasn't going to be for me. It was going to be against me. And I said some words, and I said, I'm leaving. And I left, and I got home and I started drinking. I was already warned about my drinking, hangovers and stuff, that my job performance was suffering. And I knew that I was going to be fired. So
What the heck?
a few hours later, I'm drunk. Didn't take much. You're still drunk from the night before. I went back to work, and I'm causing a scene, and I'm...
The same day?
Same day. Emptying my desk, and I'm out of control, and...
All right, stop. Hold on. Just stop right there. Out of control. What do I see if I'm in your life and you're out of control? What's the visual?
In that atmosphere, in that day, I was crying. I was accusing people... an alcoholic's never to blame. We always blame others. And back to that email, because I had seniority over somebody, and just because she was with the in crowd, I knew that this situation was going to go her way, and I just was crying and just totally out of control.
Yelling,
Screaming,
swearing.
probably not swearing.
Okay.
but-
Calling people names. Your fault, not mine. Stay out of my way. Look what
Yeah.
you did to me.
And my boss took me into the bathroom, and she knew how I was struggling all those years that I had worked with her. And they took my car keys, and they called security, and I ran off. And I stopped at this lady's house. There was a dog out there, and so I'm laying down with her dog outside crying. And she comes out, and she gives me a ride home. And
Did you know this lady?
no.
Okay.
No, but she gave me a ride home. She was very kind. And so I went and got my car the next day, and I was sick.
You know,
Just a horrible scene.
when you were talking about blaming others, I saw a video yesterday. It was kind of a cartoon video, but it was talking about people that blame other people. And people that blame others are people that can't be vulnerable. I thought that was really interesting. It's
Say that again.
people that blame others. You've got all the energy pushing away from you. It's going to be someone else's fault because if it was, you don't want to be vulnerable enough to take on whatever it is that you're,
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that relates to me. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But you have to be vulnerable. And I think we learned that in 12-step program, how to be, trust in being vulnerable. I think it's really hard because usually if we come from a certain background, being vulnerable means someone's going to pounce on you. And so you're on the defense all the time. And so it's easier just to blame somebody else, keep the energy out there rather than bringing it in here.
I remember one of my first meetings, and Stephanie said, there's a lot of power in being powerless. Mm-hmm. And I thought about that. And then it just hit me. Yeah, I need to go there because I was never powerless when I was in my drinking ages and before that. So, yeah, I agree with that.
There was one other thing that you brought up that I thought it was interesting when you said that you made it through your husband's death for 4 days and then you drank. And that's not unusual. I think many people can make it through the big events. It's then the everyday living after that. I think for many alcoholics, you can say, I'm not going to drink at this party or I'm not going to drink during this time. And you can do it. Mm-hmm. And then you let yourself go after that. And it's just knowing how to live on life's terms after that. Makes it difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think there's probably something about getting through the funeral and looking brave. And don't you think everybody's wondering if that alcoholic's going to drink,
Mm-hmm.
And so you prove to them that you're not going to, and you get through the visitation and the funeral and then the event afterwards, and then the family leaves because they've got people who came in from out of town. Mm-hmm. I remember there was a kid in my high school. I just remembered this. Oh, he was a couple of years ahead of me, but this was probably 5 or 6 years after we got out of school, and his mom died. She'd been sick for a very, very long time. And he was sober, had been sober. And I don't remember how long, but it was weeks, not months. He disappeared. This 25-year-old man disappeared. Could not find him. Lincoln and Omaha Television, are on this. Here's the picture. Wanted. We can't find this guy. They found him held up in a motel with gallons and gallons and gallons of booze and tons and tons and tons of empty bottles. And he just couldn't deal with it. God bless him.
That's sad.
Yeah. Wendy Riddle is my guest. This book, obviously this is your book and you've looked at it. For those of you that are not watching us but listening to us on the radio, this book is absolutely torn apart. And I don't imagine it was because it was built cheaply. I imagine you have just been through this book.
There's a binder clip.
You got a binder clip for it. I want to read something. This is called Turn Towards Others. Love. You have this highlighted. Page 216. The path away from shame leads outward. First towards God, and then toward other people. First you put words on your shame, then you listen to what the Lord said to you in a particular way. Then you believed and trusted, and trust, you will find, leads to action. Now you have reason to move towards other people rather than away from them. You were clothed and cleansed so that there is no reason to hide.
Amen.
You have something good to say, so you want to share it. And you are commissioned by the king, so you are not speaking on your own behalf. The simple step outward is in direct defiance of the isolation and hiding so essential to shame. Whew. That's powerful.
Mm-hmm. This book, when you have these things in your head that you can't put words to, you know that something is driving you nuts. You know that something is holding you back. You know the emotions and the feelings, but you can't put words. your feeling and your behavior and your emotion. And it's like I finally found something that
Makes sense to you.
makes sense and connected.
Yeah.
It was incredible.
Why was shame the 10,000-pound gorilla in the corner for you? I'm not saying that guilt and shame isn't always existent, but this seemed to be this book gave you the power to overcome your kryptonite, which was shame.
Yeah.
Shame means someone's done something to you where you're saying to yourself, I am not okay.
Right.
And so if you don't feel like you're okay, it's very hard to come out of that.
Well, from a very young age, I didn't feel loved by my mom.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get the attention my sisters got. My mom would spit on me and tell me I'm never going to be anything. And when you're young, you believe that. And so that's how...
And it sounds like when you get older, you still believe it.
You still believe it. You still believe it. And then the drinking starts and you just continue on. You believe that you're this big.
Yeah, very.
And there's just no confidence, there's no self-esteem, there's no nothing.
Wendy Riddle is our guest. When we come back, we'll continue with the timeline and find out how she got to where she is and the struggles that she overcame. We're coming back live here on Restoring Hope Live on The Truth, 99.3 FM.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast 1 Live.
I'm Brian Leach, owner of Service Legends, and my position is Chief Talent Officer.
I'm Nicholas Wonderscheid.
I am Bernie Homs,
And I'm the Service Manager.
Marketing Director and Client Relations Manager.
Everything that we do is about ensuring that we exceed your expectations.
Our clients are important to us. 100% satisfaction.
We're not just focused on heating and cooling. That's the easiest part of our job, actually, is fixing furnaces and air conditioners.
Everyone that we come in touch with, we want to improve lives.
Bottom line is, we've got our installation guarantees, 25% energy savings guarantee, comfort guarantee, temperature selection guarantee, property protection guarantee.
100% satisfaction guaranteed. Fixed rate or it's free.
All of those guarantees are backed up with a 100% money-back guarantee to hold ourselves accountable to making sure that you get what you're after.
Just fixing the problem today. If they have another problem 5 days down the road, it's still fixed rate or it's free.
We use what's called straightforward pricing. Our technicians are going to give you an exact to-the-penny price on what it's going to take before they move forward with any repair. That way you know what to expect.
It's the same price every day.
No surprises.
If you get off work at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, you come home, you realize that, oh, my furnace is broken. Now you need to call somebody out that night. You shouldn't have to pay more for that.
We're guaranteeing service 24/7.
We run afternoons, evenings, nights, weekends. We're staffed to work that.
Phone rings at 3 in the morning. You'll get one of our representatives answering the phone every time.
We're not sending you out to Timbuktu in some call center. It's our Service Legend team members, our mission control team.
I'll take a call anytime.
And then they answer the phones the same way during the day as they do at night.
It's a great day at your service company. How can we make you smile?
That's the only way to provide true 24-hour service.
When you're able to let somebody actually live in their home safely when they weren't able to do that before, where they don't have to stay up at night and worry about, is the heat going to come back on? Are we going to freeze the pipes? Is the baby in the room next door going to be sick because they got too cold? When you're able to help somebody overcome challenges like that, that's impacting a life. That makes a difference. I get goosebumps thinking about it.
I love the team. I love the people that I work with.
We have fun, but we work hard.
I call them my ambassadors of legendary service. If you could just envision what that is, that's who we're sending to your home.
They literally will call in, pick up the phone and call and say, hey, I want to talk to your manager. And I get on the phone, they're like, that technician that was at my house was the greatest technician ever. That's cool to me.
We want to brighten people's days.
Every person that we have going into the house has gone through an extensive background check.
Drug testing, we have a very thorough interview process that 1 out of 140 people make it through.
If we promise you something, that's what you're going to get, no matter what.
We're here when you need us to protect the safety and comfort of your family.
If you're not happy, we're gonna make it right.
If we're willing to put 100% money back guarantee on what we do, what type of work do you think we do?
Give us a call. We're there for you 24/7, 365 days a year.
Enough said.
Restoring hope, open my heart to sing, taking the darkness inside, revealing your light, restoring hope.
22 minutes for the top of the hour, Salem Radio Network News, and then Michael Mudloff with True Blue from Westkirk Presbyterian Church. If you're wondering who that incredible voice is singing our Restoring Hope Live theme, that is an original composition, and that is Lila when she's dressed like a man.
Oh, God.
No. That is
Where did that come from?
I don't know. I'm just always trying to pick on you. Now I can't think about who that was. Who was that? That was Matthew. Oh, shoot. Now I forgot. Anyway, he's a professional singer. Has a band called Spoken. Matt Baird. Thank you.
Oh, Baird.
And he is from Des Moines and travels 40-some weeks out of the year. And we are blessed to have him as not only a member, but an active member at our church. And every once in a while, he pulls out that guitar and, oh, my gosh. Go to hope.tv, I think is where you'd go, and or go to the YouTube page for Lutheran Church of Hope and put in Matt Baird. I remember the first time I saw this guy. Have you ever seen this guy? If he's 100 pounds, that's it. Very skinny, all tattooed up, not on his neck, but on his arms, sleeves. Has a fuzz cut and wears black Buddy Holly glasses. Mm-hmm. And he doesn't look like he could even hardly talk loud enough, let alone sing. And he comes out there with a microphone and no band and no backup and starts to sing. And you've seen him. I know you've seen him.
Yeah.
I'll bet you have. It just blows you away. A lot of times he will perform before the service starts.
Okay.
You know how they have
Yeah.
music sometimes? Mm-hmm. He performed at a lot of the Christmas shows we did this year.
Okay.
Incredible. Anyway, I asked him to write a song about restoring hope, and he wrote that song and recorded it for us, and we sure do appreciate that. All right, Wendy Riddle is our guest today. The book that she read, not wrote, but read, is a book you can only find on Amazon, you said?
I have not found it in any bookstore. I found it on Amazon.
Okay. Edward T. Welch, W-E-L-C-H, is the author, and it's Shame Interrupted. And I have to tell you, you've highlighted several things in this book, and so what I've done is I've gone through and I've read some of the things that you highlighted, and I want to read another one, if you'll allow me to. This is on page 217. And it says, you will still notice the residue of shame. The difference is that it will be more than counterbalanced by the honor of being associated with Jesus and his purposes. When you falter, and you will, you can reread the Gospels and learn again about the shamed king whose entire ministry was marked by the scorn and contempt of the people. And I know you've said that to me before. You really can relate to Christ because he spent his last 3 years being shamed and scorned and persecuted. And he told people in Mark, listen, you follow me, they're going to hate you, they're going to spit on you, they're going to persecute you, and they're probably going to kill you. That's the benefits of belonging to Jesus's club. Yeah. Now, can you imagine sitting there on the shore of Galilee and Jesus saying, okay, you want to join me, here's what you're going to get. Bob, I think I'd go the other way.
Yeah, well, look at the Christians over in the Middle East.
Oh, gosh.
They're being persecuted.
Did you see the report that they're pulling children out of their houses and beheading them in front of their...
Oh, no.
Yeah, children of Christians. Right. ISIS is pulling them out of their houses, beheading them right there in front of mom and dad.
Oh.
Yep.
I haven't heard that.
So that persecution is there today.
Yeah, right, today it is. So tell me how you bonded with this dude named Jesus over shame.
It took me a while to get to that book. I didn't know what was wrong with me because I've been sober for 7 years and nothing was changing. The only thing that was changing is that I was sober. I wasn't able to have relationships. I didn't know how to have conversations with people. Just hide me in a corner, and that's where I'll be happy. Just don't look at me, don't talk to me. And I didn't know what it was. I couldn't figure it out. So I bought all these books, you know, being raised in an alcoholic home, being raised in an alcoholic abusive home, you know, just. And something finally led me to this book, and so yes, I was able to identify with the shame. And now I forgot your question, Mac.
No, that's okay. No, you just answered it.
Okay.
I have a question for you. Did you have a relationship with God or Jesus before this?
I started a relationship back when I was 19, and then quickly fell away to start the drinking.
Yeah.
So he was with me this whole time.
Yeah.
Now, you know what?
And I knew, isn't there a scripture that talks about it's better that you have never known him than to know him and walk away?
Yes.
I think there's a scripture.
Yeah.
But most addicts, most alcoholics do walk away because it's very hard to take God down that path with you when you know you're doing the wrong thing.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because that's what I was about to say. I must be a freak of nature, because when I was drinking, now this has changed now that I'm almost 5 years sober, but it didn't change for a couple years. This did not happen overnight. I remember sitting in my chair drinking and finally getting that little bit of a buzz. Okay, here we go. And feeling settled into God. And I could sit there, and sometimes I'd do this. I'd mute the TV just so God and I could have a conversation. And that conversation was not, "You stupid drunk, you did it again. I'm so disappointed in you. How do you expect me to love you?" It was, "Okay, the day's passed and the kids are in bed. Let's talk, Mac. How you doing, buddy? I love you. You know, how we doing?"
Well, maybe that's how God was going to talk to you. But denial is also a part of
I know.
alcoholism.
But see, if denial comes from the accuser, and then there's no way, this is what I believe, and there's no proof either way, but that voice, whether it was God's or not, was very comforting. And it didn't tell me it was okay to drink. By any means, it didn't tell me that. But it didn't cause me to go, "Oh no, God doesn't love me. He's ashamed of me. God, don't look at me. I'm drinking. I know you don't like me this way." You know, all the Bible verses go through your head about drinking too much and being drunkards. And I always found that interesting. And in the beginning of my sobriety, I was scared that maybe my God only came to me when I was drunk. Maybe. And I'm not going to tell my story here, but there was a part of my story where I had to face that, and I had to surrender to that, and then God just came alive, 3D and in color. But I really like the way you've tapped into shame, and you've gone to such a wonderful place in our lives to draw from it, and that was Christ. Not a Jewish mother who watched her husband and son get tarted off. Nada. But you went to the heart of where shame lived, and how God can not only release you from it, but bless you with it. Or not bless you with it, but bless you as he removes it. That's pretty good.
But I was in and out of church. I would go to church every now and then during all those years of drinking. So I always knew that all I had to do was turn away and God would be there. I knew that he was always there. And it was just like that still small voice was saying, "Wendy, I'm waiting. Wendy, I'm waiting." Almost to the point where, leave me alone. I'm doing what I'm doing, just leave me alone. I'll come when I'm ready.
Yeah, good. And you did.
Yeah.
He waited for you. All right, Wendy Riddle is our guest. We're coming up on our last break. When we come back, our last thoughts. If you have thoughts, 244-0077, restoringhopelive.com. Go to that website and watch all of our shows from day one. Lila Stafford from Powell CDC, Bob Montserrat, the Cat in the Hat, Ryan's producing. I'm Mac, and I thank you for listening. Love this job. Couldn't do it without you. Right here on The Truth, 99.3, powered by webcast1live.com.
A father who is headed toward another heart attack. A woman who struggles daily with diabetes and her memory. A boy whose headaches keep him out of school. A mother who one morning discovers a lump. A girl whose condition defies diagnosis. You come to us because you need answers, but you also need more. You need understanding of what you're going through. You need comfort. You need to be treated as an individual, not a condition. You need to be included in your own care. You are the point of everything we do. That's why we're changing to Unity Point Health. It's a model of care that will help us work better together, where the physician who knows you best takes the lead, coordinating your care through every step, from the hospital to specialists to rehabilitation to health services in the home and in the community, to making sure the treatments are effective. By working as a team, we surround you with care, helping you manage your health and your conditions, guiding you to making better choices and living a healthier life. The point of Unity is you. Unity Point Health.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can give these grandkids back, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We can help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast 1 Live.
Restoring hope, open my heart to sing, taking the darkness inside, revealing your light, restoring hope.
All right, 10 minutes before the top of the hour, Salem Radio Network News. Sitting here talking with Wendy Riddle about her story and how I love her story. I love the way you tell it. It's not written out. You draw from within. You remember emotions. We're going to be starting a new show in probably the second quarter that deals with men and women who have come through emotionally and physically and sexually abusive lifestyles. And the name of the show is called Two Mercies. And here's where that comes from. As I've interviewed people for the last years of my life, when you talk about emotional abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse, that type of treatment from one person to another, there's a common word that comes up. And that word is prisoner. Your mother held you prisoner. In fact, maybe even today, she holds you a little prisoner inside. And the Bible verse comes from Zechariah 9:12. And I love this Bible verse. Come back to the place of safety, all you prisoners, for there is yet hope. I promise this very day that I will repay you 2 mercies for each of your woes.
What's that?
Zechariah 9:12. Because the common phrase, and this also is, a lot of people you'll hear from alcohol and drugs, that the alcohol held me prisoner. Mm-hmm. So it's not always a person or a flesh or a soul that holds you prisoner.
Shame holds you prisoner, too.
Yeah, exactly. So that might be something we can work on together. My co-host is a young lady by the name of Jessie Wagner, and Jessie has just come out of a pretty difficult relationship in which she was held prisoner, and she wants to give people like you a voice so they can tell their stories about how shame interrupted them, or they were finally taken captive by shame, and then shame got interrupted. But that'll be a show that we'll be starting probably late April, early May, something like that. And by the way, if you're listening, if you know someone who has struggled with that type of abuse, and you know that type, I'm not talking about a husband or wife that gets a little sassy from time to time. Then I'd be talking about Lila. I'm talking about heavy-duty manipulation, lies, just the stuff that movies are made of. I think about that movie. What was that movie with...
Farrah Fawcett?
Huh?
Farrah Fawcett?
Yeah, The Burning Bed.
Yeah.
And then there was the one who was the Julia?
Roberts?
Huh? Roberts. She was in the movie.
Oh, Sleeping with the Enemy?
Yes. That's the kind of people that we're going to try to help. Those people that are in that kind of relationship. And if you know somebody that's in that type of relationship or hopefully have escaped from it and are collecting their 2 mercies, get in contact with me because I'd like to talk to them. And I think you can testify that this is fun to do. It's purging. Mm-hmm. Wouldn't you say? Didn't you say something about that earlier? How it just made you feel good to get it out and talk about it?
Yeah.
I got another thing I want to read from page 225 of your book, Shame Interrupted. When you enter the kingdom, all eyes are not on you. They're on Jesus. They are on his love, his sacrifice, his perfection, his suffering, and his holiness. God has determined to bring glory to himself by serving us. The utterly unprecedented act of the cross puts him in a category by himself. There are no human parallels, so as odd as it may sound, except this honor for Jesus' sake and his glory. His glory is his love his glory and his love is boundless. It exceeds any love we could possibly imagine. When we honor you, his servant love is unmistakable. I really like this book. Mm-hmm. I'm going to have to order this. Mm-hmm. Again, author's last name is Welch, Edward T. Welch, and it's called Shame Interrupted. Do you know what the CCEF is? By any chance? Okay. It is newgrowthpress.com is the publisher. So we'll see what we can do on that. All right, 3 minutes. Last thoughts?
Last thoughts. You know, sobriety and identifying with shame, and I don't know how people who don't know Christ do it. I know I could never do this on my own. I have not done anything. I have just been led by God.
Cool.
And just let him take control, because there's power in being powerless.
So that in a sense it's surrendering.
Yeah.
And just knowing that God will take care of you.
That morning that I woke up, July 29th, 2007, I was so sick because it wasn't taking me anything to get drunk anymore. And the hangovers were taking longer to recover.
Yeah.
And I woke up and I couldn't even open my eyes. I knew that I was sicker than I'd ever been. And I couldn't open up my eyes because I knew I wouldn't even be able to see. And I just screamed. I said, God, help me. I will die somehow, some way. If the alcohol doesn't kill you itself, the lifestyle will. Mm-hmm. And I knew that I wouldn't make it. And I white-knuckled it for a while, and then things just started coming together the more that I just looked to God to help me.
What's your support system?
My relationship with God and Jesus, of course. My husband, friends, church family.
Good.
Another thing that has been so helpful for me is, being a servant to others. Mm-hmm. I do I shouldn't say a lot. I volunteer at a nursing home in Nevada. And I go over, we do Bible studies, we do Bible trivia, and they just love it, and I love these people. And it gets me out of myself.
Absolutely.
That's the best thing. Mm-hmm. Get out of ourselves.
As I walked down the skywalk to get my ice water, there's Wendy over there talking to one of my favorite people. She's a little old lady.
Well, Kathy.
She's probably not 100 pounds, and she's in her little zippy cart, and she rides around on the skywalk. And there Wendy is comforting her and encouraging her and making Kathy smile. That's the kind of soul
That's cool.
That's called character. When nobody's watching, you're still that kind of person. You're going to be back. I don't know when, but I want you back. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it. Bob, thanks for being here. Nice to have you back from vacation. It's just great.
I was back last week.
I know. You're not going again now for like 50 more weeks, right? Okay. Ryan, thanks for producing. I'll see you tomorrow when our guest is Don Piper, 23 Minutes in Hell. What a book. What a movie that's coming out for this guy. And we've got the author right here. Now, until then, I want you to think of somebody. Yeah, I know I say this every day, but have you done it yet? Have you really laid that name in front of Christ and asked for forgiveness and offered forgiveness? Just try it. I think you'll like it. See you tomorrow.
Restore